Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the On Deck Podcast, a Prospects Live podcast. Recently, we have been called Baseball Potpourri, and more recently than even that, we've been called Pineapple on Pizza, but in podcast form. I like to think that means that we're sweet and kind of surprisingly healthy for you. So, anyway, with us, as always, the hosting team, starting, of course, with the Director of Amateur Scouting for Prospects Live, never hatless, Coach Nate Rasmussen. Nate, how are you, sir?
Good. Excited to record again. It's a nice day here in Oregon. Gonna go watch some baseball after this. High A baseball. So having a great time.
Excellent. Glad to hear that. Glad to have you with us as always. Good to be with you. And of course, with us as always, as well, is the Director of Pro Scouting at Prospects Live. He is the face of baseball media and the middleman. He is wearing a lovely colored shirt. I meant to tell you earlier, it looks like a quarter zip. Is that like fleece? I can't tell what the material is.
It is quarter zip cotton. I got it on eBay. There's nothing I love more than getting a good deal on things and aggressively
Yeah.
bartering. I think if the world went back to a barter society, that's what would fix all of our problems. So yeah, also I just got a 50% off coupon to someone on eBay. So I will be aggressively using that to try and score another deal.
Quote him on the barter system. It is your friend and mine, Rhys White.
Hey, what's up? Let's talk some baseball. Let's not talk
Yeah.
about my bizarre shopping habits
And
and
then
my love of getting a good deal.
finally, the man with no title, an evaluator, your friend, your host, your boy, Drew Wheeler. Glad to be with you and glad to be with my friends to talk about baseball. And fellas, today we are wrapping up our coverage of the 2025 trade deadline. Maybe a little bit of a truncated episode, but just from looking at the rundown here, we've got some good things to discuss. And I feel like we're going to have some interesting bits of conversation to come right after the drop teens drop their tunes into our ears. So in 3, 2, 1, we'll hear it.
And the boys in the corner are trying to figure you out. I don't wanna play that game. I don't wanna know your name.
Love it. Amazing stuff from the Drop Teens, and we're glad to be back with you on Deck. Thank you so much for listening. Before we jump in, did want to try to work this in as much as I can. If you don't care, we'd love for you to give us a 5-star rating, subscribe, like, thumbs up, an A+, a gold star, whatever the equivalent is on your podcasting app of choice, your enjoyment app of choice. We'd love to get it. Please also comment comment below what you think Rhys should barter on next. Comment that. I'd love to hear it. So, trade deadline, gentlemen. Rhys, I believe, did you say that you came up with this structure?
Yeah, I thought that, everyone's done a trade deadline podcast. I thought that we would do it where we divide it up, do a little superlatives.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's I think I don't know if we're gonna do this in a draft format. I think we just keep it in the superlatives, keep it like a high school
Okay.
yearbook, keep
Yeah.
it simple, keep it classy, keep it sexy, and keep it moving.
Yeah,
So yeah.
all those things. I like that. Keep it
My
classy,
favorite things,
sexy,
yeah.
and moving. Yeah, the big three guys. If you keep it classy, you keep it sexy, you keep it moving, you're doing good podcast wise. Nate, I do want to throw it to you, buddy. Let's talk first. Superlative favorite trade deadline. This could mean a lot of things. I'm curious, who's your team, who's your favorite, and what's the rationale?
I went with the Baltimore Orioles for this one, and I think in large part it was because of the mega package that they got back from the San Diego Padres for Ryan O'Hearn and Ramon Laureano, Boston Bateman, Brandon Butterworth, Cobb Hightower, Victor Figueroa, Tyson Neighbors, Tanner Smith, and then they got some other guys littered throughout. I mean, they traded Roy Cedric Mullins for 3 interesting prospects for the Mets. I just think that they have completely rebuilt their farm system in a month, right, between the draft and having 7 day one picks and then getting back roughly 10 prospects throughout the deadline. And that's not even talking about like Twine Palmer from Houston, interesting, Wilfred De La Cruz from the Chicago Cubs. Like, it just kind of littered throughout guys that at least I like enough. Maybe they didn't get a super impact a guy. They didn't get the Leo DeVries of the deadline. But I just think that they did a really good job adding depth to their farm all around in the last month. And I like that they continued that trend over the trade deadline. They didn't sell off guys that they didn't need to, right? I think an Adley Rutschman trade would have been very interesting. They didn't need to move him, right? Maybe in the winter they can start considering it again. They sold the guys that they needed to and got good value for them. I think that San Diego Padres deal is going to be looking really good for them in 4 or 5 years.
Interesting. Rhys, Nate probably said a lot right there, but the thing that's kind of sticking with me is that they made the moves they needed to while not doing anything wildly unnecessary. When you look at the Orioles deadline, Rhys, is there a certain move or a certain lack of move that you point out as saying, yeah, this is really good?
I think they made all the moves that they needed to make. Trade-offs from rentals, they got some interesting layers of prospects. They got probably a lot of future relievers, if I'm going to be honest. But they traded away relievers. So if you're able to backfill, and this is an organization that just needs to backfill innings at some point, and quality pitching prospects, they got a few of those. They got some hitting prospects. They got a few like complex level scratch off tickets. I think that they did everything they needed to. I think trading Adley Rutschman would have been a mistake. I think they're not in the point where they needed to make that move yet. I still believe in Adley Rutschman. I might be one of the only people on to steal a Bill Simmons bit on Adley Rutschman Island, because I just don't think he's going to be this bad for this long. So I would buy the dip on Adley Rutschman, but I think that the Baltimore Orioles not selling at the lowest possible value was a smart decision.
I love it, Rhys, and you and I are on the same page there for sure. No matter what the major networks try to do to make us disagree, Rhys, it seems like we are simpatico more often than not. I think that was the best move the Orioles made, as a matter of fact. Not only, as you said, Nate, did they ship off the guys that they needed to move, the guys we talked about, because we talked about the Orioles moving things a lot leading up to the deadline, and they did, but they still have the real core of that team intact heading into what we expect will be a bounce-back 2026. Rhys, let's go to you, buddy. Favorite trade deadline, who you got and why?
I think the New York Mets had an A-plus deadline. I think the way in which they rebuilt that bullpen was fantastic. I'll talk about Tyler Rogers later. Getting Ryan Helsley for the price that they got him for. I think Jesus Baez is the only piece in that deal that might sting a little bit. They got Cedric Mullins. They really needed a center fielder who could hit, which has been a big problem for them. They don't really have one. Now they do. I think that they've upgraded in the areas that this team needed to. I would have loved to have seen them make a slight consolidation trade, whether that was a Brett Beatty, Mark Vientos sort of move. But honestly, they got an A+ because maybe you want to have that depth, because you never know what sort of injuries are going to happen between now and the end of the season. So having too many options at the big league level is such a good problem to have. So I'm all in on what the Mets have done. They're probably my favorite in the NL.
So Nate, Rhys credits them for not only kind of transforming the bullpen, but something I really liked, and I know that Rhys has mentioned it previously, is that it spreads. I know that he just mentioned the consolidation thing, and that I think would have been a positive thing, but being able to spread the offense around, give some DH at bats to Juan Soto is nothing that anybody's going to sneeze at. That bullpen is solid, sexy. I may even say scary now. Nate, your favorite thing about the Mets deadline, buddy?
It quite frankly might be the best bullpen in the league, going against some of those teams like the Phillies and Dodgers over there. I think Rhys made a great point about like having guys like Tyron Taylor, Starling Marte, Brett Beatty, Luis Torrens like on the bench, right? Ronnie Mauricio, like they have really good bench pieces to where they've protected themselves against a lot of different things, and the rotation was good enough. And they got two, frankly, great bullpen, two of my favorite bullpen pieces at the turn, without giving up anything significant. I think it was smart. It was just the smart move. They made the smart move at every spot. And Cedric Mullins is like a very good player, and he was having a down year, but you bet on him kind of bouncing back on a competitive team, and they didn't give up anything for him.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Rhys, did you have something to say? It looked like you wanted to.
Yeah, I mean that bullpen basically goes Ryan Stanek, Gregory Soto, Rogers, Helsley, Diaz. I mean, it's probably either the best or the second best bullpen. I think we're going to probably talk about the best bullpen at some point, because they made a big time move. So yeah, I think that they've they turned what was, I don't think their bullpen was a weakness by any means, but I think that they compounded it and turned it into one of the strengths of their team. Plus they have all those starters that they can rely on. I mean, hell, they can call up Nolan McLean, Jonah Tong. They can move Clay Holmes back into the bullpen to just make a strength, and just ultimately just have one of the best bullpen games you'll see in a postseason. So they have a lot of options. I just wish they had a better manager. I think their manager's kind of a doofus.
Reed Garrett, awesome. Really
Garrett. Yeah, that's a good point. We haven't even talked about Reed Garrett. Absolutely. Definitely with you guys there. And Rhys, what a wonderful transition. You pitched up softball style, and we'll crank it out of the park here. San Diego Padres is going to be my favorite deadline, guys. They went out and made the big splashy move. Is that always a good thing? Not necessarily. We did just praise the Orioles for not doing that, not blowing it up unnecessarily, not making the splashy move for what purpose. I think for the Padres, the thing that makes it favorite is the thing that makes it favorite for everybody, I think, at the core, is that AJ Preller is really just going for it. It's something that as a general manager, we've seen that he does consistently, and we can talk about a hot seat or not, but pushing in, adding a player the caliber of Mason Miller, adding a pitcher who is interesting, and I'll let Nate talk about him if he wants to, because Nate's seminal article and video about the future of pitching discussed kind of the interesting aspects of JP Sears. Was it a lot to give? Absolutely. I mean, you have to give to get, though, and this is tons of control on one of the most electric arms in the game, arguably the best closer in baseball. Very good stuff out of the Padres, and as Rhys alluded to, you make a strength into more of a strength with that bullpen. Think about the depth of that pen now. You've got Bob Suarez, Jeremiah Estrada, Adrian Morion, Jason Adam. I am forgetting another name that we could talk forever and ever and ever, but then you add to it with Mason Miller at the back end. Just absolute filth. Nate, to you, you and I, similarly sickos on the reliever scale. Did that make you happy to see a strength getting stronger, or did you think that this was kind of a silly move for the Padres to add another big time bullpen guy?
It's really hard to dislike a team going for it. I want to start off with that. I'm a big fan of the Padres, just with I like the Preller mindset. Trade, and make the big league club really good. It's just when you're talking about a prospect of Lou DeVries' caliber, you traded him for a reliever and a questionable starter. You traded him for like a fourth or fifth starter who needs to. There's no ace upside in JP Sears. Sorry, Mason Miller could be one of the best closers in the game, but this is also a conversation we've been having. Is like he's got a lot of control. He's obviously one of the best closers in the league, despite being super young. But is that good practice to trade away your best asset on your team for at the end of the day, it's a reliever, right? And anything can happen with relievers. I struggle with the deal. I struggle with it. I think it's fun for baseball. I think it's fun for the Padres of this year, but moving forward, I think that's a silly practice to trade away a top 10 prospect for a reliever and a back-end starting pitcher.
I think and that's a great point. I think that if we're going to focus on that side of it, Nate, we should also focus on the fact that not only is this trading a top prospect, but it is, I think, probably 90% across baseball agreed that that's one of the weaker systems in baseball as well before this massive trade. And so now, Rhys, I'll pose this question to you, because you discussed it ad nauseum that this was a system that was difficult to rank already. Now you have to re-rank it and add these guys to it. I mean, smart or silly long term to say, okay, yeah, flags fly forever, if I may steal that phrase, but at the same time, what's the future going to hold for the Padres right now?
I think that the Padres are a team that views minor leaguers in an interesting way than other teams. And I think at a certain point, we talk about it. You talk about it a lot, Drew. You want to be an outlier, right? The Padres are the outlier organization. You constantly get 20 draft picks every year. You get international bonus pool money. You can constantly refill and backfill your farm system. I think that the idea of trading the prospects, like the trade that they made with the Orioles, I think makes a lot of sense. And it was a really good move, I think, for them. I think trading Leo DeVries is kind of, it's an interesting idea. Are they going to stretch Mason Miller out to be a starter? If he is a starter and can hold up for a starter's workload, that might be like the ultimate win for all parties involved. But it's still a reliever. I mean, he's a darn good one. But also, I am starting to wonder: is years of control with a reliever becoming a little overvalued? Because we saw a lot of it. Every single trade piece that was written, and I know I'm going to be writing one. Will and I are co-authoring one because we want to have the average height of our article be very high. Years of control was a lot of things that were traded at this deadline, and and you didn't get a big return. So I think years of control of the reliever are a little bit overrated. And I think teams are starting to say that as well. Because I mean, David Bednar, you could be good, you could be bad. And he has shown it. He's been on both ends of the spectrum. So I just think when we're talking about this, it's kind of reckless to trade LDV, but it's AJ Preller. His seat's always hot. He knows that he can refill this farm system. He's one of the best scouting general managers in the league. So I trust what he can do. I just wouldn't have traded LDV.
It is, his mindset is certainly transactionary. That's not a word, I don't think, but he sees them as bad as this is. I mean, they're not chess pieces, but I mean, in a sense that you have to consider that a player's currency what it could mean to your team. And I mean, again, frankly, none of us really have this pressure, but to his job. I mean, like we said, what if the expectation is make the playoffs? Nate, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I don't think they're going to stretch out Mason Miller. I don't think they will.
I think it'd be a terrible idea.
Adrian Morahone is one of the breakout relievers of this year. People could have seen that coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a deep pitch mix. It's really good. The stuff is there. The command is there. All of this. Adrian Morahone was the most obvious reliever to starting pitcher conversion of this year, and the Padres didn't do it. I think the majority of people were kind of banging the drum for them to try that because they have guys like Michael King on the roster. They didn't do it. If you're not going to do it with Morahone, you don't do it with even an injury-prone Mason Miller, right? He didn't pitch a whole lot of minor league innings, so I would be surprised if they did that, and so that makes me like the deal less.
That's interesting. I do have to qualify something for everybody at home. Rhys said, I don't mind being an outlier. It's not something that I aspire to be.
No,
but
Drew goes out of his way. You should hear some of the things he texts us. There are outlier stuff going on there. I'm just joking, Drew.
I know. I do need to clarify that. I'm not trying to be an outlier. It just, my brain is broken and works differently than yours, more likely than not. So, guys, let's talk the opposite end of the spectrum. Let's talk least favorite trade deadline. I'll jump into this one first, if that's okay. We'll go backwards, just because I don't really have a lot here. I think that a lot of people could say things like the Minnesota Twins had a disappointing deadline for the major league perspective, like for their fans, but I think Cubs, and maybe it's just because my brain, Rhys, our producer and our associate producer, Evan and Spencer for Path to the Show, Cubs fans. So I hear from Cubs, I hear a lot of Cubs discussion, kind of just in a natural sense now. They were jonesing for a big starting pitcher addition. And what happened? Now we're looking at this system that we said, well, this guy's as good as gone. Still there. I can't help but look at this deadline and not feel a little disappointed for Cubs fans who already have a very strong team. So, Nate, I'm going to go to you here first. Cubs deadline, am I wrong to say that it's got to be underwhelming, if not disappointing, if not bad?
Yeah, Drew, I hate to go against you once again here. Cubs are one of my favorite deadlines. And I can understand wanting the big starting pitcher edition. Right. I think when Sandy went off the table and the Cease price became really high and some of these other guys, and then the Mitch Keller wasn't on the table, they didn't have a whole lot of options for elite starting pitchers, and the bidding was high. So I think that they valued their prospect capital more, which I don't necessarily agree with in a year that they could go for it, but maybe the window is just beginning for the Cubs, and they didn't need to sell off, a lot of their top prospects to get this guy. I'm surprised Casey wasn't moved, but honestly, like an Imanaga, Boyd, Cade Horton, Mike Soroka 4 in the playoffs is not that bad. Cade Horton's starting to figure it out.
He is.
And I'm a huge Mike Soroka guy. I almost wrote about him as my favorite. And this is nothing against, I think if you're a Cubs fan, you should be disappointed because they could have overpaid for a starting pitcher and went for it this year. I'm thinking a holistic view. I like the additions that they made.
From the holistic view that you're looking at it with, can I assume that you think Kyle Tucker's going to re-sign in Chicago then?
I think it's the most likely situation, but you never really know. I think that they probably wanted to keep some money off the books too. That's why you don't go get a guy like Sandy, so you can give Tucker that extra money.
I think that the only pushback I could get, and you're absolutely right about Soroka. I forgot that Mike Soroka signed there, and I think he's better than kind of what my initial statement implied. I didn't mean that because I think
we're just coming from different ways.
Yeah, I do think though that in my mind this is kind of, last dance with Mary Jane for Kyle Tucker in Chicago. I think they're foolish to not operate under that mindset because it's just like we were talking about before we started recording. Seiya Suzuki's having a great year. I mean, Chicago is all guns ahead, all guns blazing towards a title right now. This is the best chance the Cubs have had since 2016. I mean, in my opinion, I think this is the time to push in whenever we you know, I get it. But you make a great point, Nate. It seems like the pitching price was certainly higher. I mean, you guys talked about it on the deadline show. Joe Ryan was kind of floated that last 30 minutes. Like, what could that, like, Lord only knows what that could have looked like. I think we even tried to mock that, if I'm not mistaken, Ryan to the Cubs at one point. So Rhys, I'll go to you here. First question is Cubs thumb up, thumb down at the deadline. And then second question would be along the same lines, do you think Kyle Tucker is going to re-sign in Chicago, and how does that shape your opinion of the Cubs deadline?
So I have a lot of thoughts. I'm probably not going to answer any of the questions. I don't want to go on these little like tirades. I think some of these process general managers, I think they miss the mark a little bit, and I think that it would have been okay to overpay a little bit for starting pitching. I mean, they could have had Chris Paddock. I don't know if you guys know, he's back. The Tigers have fixed him. So the Cubs could have done that. No, I'm just joking. But to answer your question, I give them kind of like not even a thumbs up or thumbs down, just like a thumbs in the middle. It was kind of like a C deadline. I think they could have been more aggressive, but I understand keeping some of the prospect capital. And I don't know. I would like Kyle Tucker to re-sign there. I think that that's a good fit because that lineup sneakily becomes not that. It's fine, but it's like it needs that superstar. And Kyle Tucker does a lot of heavy lifting for that lineup, really puts everybody into their appropriate slots. So I also would have loved to have seen them make just one starting pitching move. Like I'm not the biggest fan of relying on, I mean, I know it's, right now, Matthew Boyd, Colin Ray, Mike Soroka, Shoto Imanaga, and Cade Horton. I just don't know where the true difference maker in the rotation is. I think one, maybe going in and making that splash trade for Joe Ryan, trading all the prospects that are up close to the majors, because we all know the Twins needed guys after they made some of those trades. But Ballesteros, Alcantara could have made the major leagues. He's becoming he might be worth writing an article about. I don't believe in him anymore, and I don't believe the Cubs do, and he's in a weird roster spot as well. But one starting pitcher could have really put everybody else into their appropriate spot in this rotation. And I just don't know. It's kind of like a meh. I like the reliever move they made. Getting Kittredge was a really good pick. I think getting Willie Castro was a fantastic move, especially when you consider that it cost them nothing. I think that they're kind of in the middle. And I do think that they re-signed Kyle Tucker because trying to project where he goes, he's not going to go to the Mets. He's probably not going to, well, he might go to the Dodgers at this point. I mean, the Astros like to re-bring guys back too. So he might be an Astro.
Who knows? We might well see that. Nate, I was really hoping Rhys would break the tie for us, and yet he went right down the middle. Classic Rhys. The middleman. Classic
The
Rhys.
middleman.
Nathaniel, we'll go to you here, pal. Least favorite trade deadline and why?
I'm going to keep this one brief, and I limited it to only teams who made multiple impactful transactions in my eyes, and that would be the Toronto Blue Jays. I did not love what they did. I think giving up Cal Steven for half a season of Shane Bieber is an overly aggressive move. Cal Steven's one of the better pitchers in the minor leagues at this point, in a really interesting Toronto pitching dev system. And it's the same thing with Warren Watts Brown for Sir Anthony Dominguez. It's like we're not getting Sir Anthony Dominguez is not a difference maker reliever in my eyes. He is a good reliever, but he's going to be in a leverage role in this Toronto bullpen that is already sneaky good. And I thought they gave up two really good prospects for both of those guys. And then the Louis Varland trade is interesting. It's a reliever with lots of years of control. Louis Varland has not been a slam dunk pitcher for his whole career, if people remember. And he gave up Kendry Rojas and Alan Rodin, who are two good pieces. I don't think they did horrible, but of teams that went for it at this deadline, I just thought that they overpaid more than maybe anyone else across the board.
I can certainly see that. I'm not going to give you much guff on that pick at all. I think that's reasonable, honestly. They did give quite a bit. And while, I want to say it was Lance Bronzowski in his most recent video analyzing the deadline, he actually brought up a point I hadn't considered. What if Bieber just shoves in the second half and then doesn't re-sign?
I don't think he's going to re-sign.
Doesn't take his, what is it, the club option? Or his option, player option, excuse me. But just, you're giving up Cal Steven for that. That's just really, really interesting. So
the option's $14 million, and starting pitching nowadays, Shane Bieber's only 30 years old. He's going to get a multi-year contract, in my opinion, somewhere. He's going to decline the option. I wholeheartedly believe in that.
I think so too. Rhys, to you, pal. Nate brought up a lot of good points. Solid prospects. I mean, what really did they do though in terms of what they bring in? I think Nate makes a solid point. I'm curious your opinion.
I think that the Toronto Blue Jays went in and bought at the highest possible value. It's like they could have gone to Kroger, Safeway, whatever your point is, and they chose to go to Erewhon, right? For the same product and just to pay a crap ton more. Shane Bieber is not going to re-sign there. I mean, Alex Cobb is making $16 million for the Tigers, and he hasn't pitched a single inning, right? Even if Shane Bieber doesn't pitch, because what if there's an injury setback? Then you traded Cal Steven for nothing, right? There's that level of risk that we were talking about here. I think that this was really bad asset management by the Toronto Blue Jays. They overpaid at every single venture. Louis Varland has been bad at certain points of his career in the major leagues. And I think I'm tired of hearing about the years of control. I feel like I'm just getting more and more angry. That might be what's on my mind. Years of control. We don't need to talk about it with relievers anymore. But yeah, I think the Toronto Blue Jays just overpaid at every single venture. For what? I don't think any of these, if Shane Bieber comes up and shoves, which is a very real possibility, then it looks a little bit better, but still they traded their pop-up pitching prospect. They traded another pop-up pitching prospect. They traded so much to get a lot of a more risk than I think reward. So I don't think this deadline was very good. I wish that they would have upgraded their bullpen. Jeff Hoffman has been sneakily not great. I mean, we're talking about a guy who gives up almost 2 home runs per 9 innings. We're talking about, I think everything in this bullpen is not great. I don't buy what the Toronto Blue Jays are selling. And maybe that's because of tariffs and everything like that. But I just don't, the rotation's fine, it's good, but it's just not, I don't know. I don't agree with any of the moves they made.
I hear that. Rhys, let's stick it to you here, man. Let's stick it to Rhys, Nate. Rhys, you've spoken about your least favorite deadline, not excessively, but a couple times now. You've spoken about it with a lot of passion too. So I'm going to turn it to you. Your least favorite deadline. What team?
The San Francisco Giants. I think that the San Francisco Giants had a terrible trade deadline. I don't think they got anything of value in return for any of the. Camilo Duvall got them a catcher who can't catch and some other stuff. Tyler Rogers got them 40 back end of the 40-man sort of talent. So I don't like any of the things they made. I don't like anything that they've done. It's just a very confusing. I don't like anything that they've done.
Nate.
I don't mind it. I mean, I like his passion here. I don't. He's not wrong.
I think the Giants are one of the dumbest organizations in the sport.
Wow.
We're talking.
I really thought he was going to leave it at here, and then he just kicks it up.
Yeah, we're doing it.
Go ahead,
I cannot believe anything that Buster Posey has done, and people are optimistic about the garbage that they're selling their fans. Their team looks depressed. I just don't. Oh, dude, I cannot understand. This is going to get clipped on socials, and all 5 Giants fans are going to be really upset about this. I don't really care. They are in the Rockies, the Angels bucket, the White Sox bucket of teams, and I just think that people acting like Buster Posey is a good president of baseball operations. He had a terrible draft. He's mismanaged a lot of stuff. This team really gets me all fired up, and I don't know why, because they're so bad and they're so irrelevant.
Can you guys name a single guy on their bench right now versus
Lamont
right-handed
Wade Jr.?
pitching? Lamont Wade Jr. was on the Angels and just got DFA'd. That's how far off we are. A single person on their bench against right-handed pitching. Or even in their lineup at this point. Right field is Grant McCray and DH is Dominic Smith in the 5-hole.
I do Dom Smith.
Their bench is Andrew Nizer, Wilmer Flores, Christian Koss, and Luis Matos.
I used to believe in Luis Matos.
Yeah, well, you're wrong.
Me too.
No. I'm talking about as a prospect. When he was in
single
A, I saw him go I saw him shoot a home run right over the batter's eye. I was like, this guy, I'm in.
Okay, real quick, Rhys, random question. Did you like Luis Matos or Alexander Canario better?
I like Luis Matos, but both of them are not. Both of them are going to be entering the international part of their career here soon.
Roasted. Nate, did you have an opinion on that? Did you like a Matos or a Canario better, or did you care for either guy?
If I'm being honest, that was honestly before my prospect time.
Oh, okay.
That was before
So
he was
I didn't
born.
have strong opinions either way.
Before he was born.
That was early college, Nate.
Rhys, if you couldn't guess, I was a Canario guy, actually. I like Canario a lot. Anyway, We'll move on. Guys, for this one, let's do our answer to the superlative and then maybe a sentence or two, just a brief thought as to why they're your choice. Biggest steal of the trade deadline. Rhys, we're going to start with you. I assume this plays in pretty well with your last point.
Oh, it's played in with all of my points. It ties it all together. It is the bow that gets everything all done. Tyler Rogers, for what the Mets paid for him, is fantastic. It is a steal. You're getting one of the most reliable relievers that we're talking about. Honestly, like if he's pitching in the 8th inning, like we're cooking with gas. They traded nothing to get him, nothing of consequence. So yeah, I think that's a fantastic move for a team that needed bullpen help.
There you go. Okay. Nate, biggest steal of the trade deadline?
I went with Willie Castro. Rhys alluded to it earlier. The return package was minimal, and Willie Castro is the perfect player for a contending team to go get because you can slide him in anywhere on the field to give a guy a day off. Against lefties, he's one of your better, maybe your best hitter in the lineup. If you're he's one of the best lefty hitters in the league. He just happens to be this awesome utility man who can get it done against the right side because he's such a good switch hitter, one of the few actual switch hitters in the league now. And the defensive value is enough. And I just think that's a guy that winning teams want. I'm a big Willie Castro guy, if you can't tell.
I agree, and I know that we're not going into this, but that's something that I should have given more credence to when I talked about the Cubs and how they were disappointing. Castro was an amazing ad. Really quick, I'll tell you, my biggest steal of the deadline, John Duran. Again, potentially the best closer in baseball dealt, and when you see the price for relievers, I felt really, really satisfied with Rhys's favorite thing, the amount of control that we have here for John Duran. The prospect capital given, I think that there's adamant risk that you have to consider with both of the major prospects. I'm very satisfied with that, and I feel really good as a Phillies fan to know that that's the closer that we have needed for years. Okay, best under the radar move. Rhys, we're going to go to you for this one. Most under the radar move of the deadline.
I like that the Marlins got Matthew Etzel. Is Matthew Etzel going to consistently make contact? Probably not. This is his third organization at this point, but we're talking about a decent chance to be a really good fourth outfielder. And I mean, let's be real, the Marlins have plenty of opportunity to give him a chance, and he has to be added to the 40-man this offseason. He's pretty close to the high minors. He's in AA, probably gets promoted to AAA, and then they have to make that decision. I like that move.
Okay, Nate, what do you think? Most under the radar.
Tyson Neighbors going to the Baltimore Orioles from the Padres. This is a elite level relief pitching prospect. One of the few in the minors who you're like, this guy's probably going to pan out and it's going to be really exciting. On the high end, this is an elite closer. On the lower end, this is an impactful reliever, in my opinion. From the right side, right? So he is a righty, but he spins the heck out of the baseball, man. Spins the heck out of it. So I'm really excited for kind of what this Baltimore Orioles bullpen might be in a couple of years.
Can I say something about Tyson Neighbors really quickly? The only problem is sometimes the strike zone is not his friend. He doesn't like to throw strikes sometimes, but that's fine. He's a reliever.
I think he's gotten better at it this year, right?
Yeah, he has gotten a lot better at it this year.
He's improving. The numbers are cool. He's striking guys out. He got a kind of aggressive promotion to AA this year, but I mean, I like it.
Okay.
Howdy, Neighbors.
Howdy. I'm gonna go with a deeper cut. Not that you guys weren't deep. We both list great, prospect players there. I'm gonna say Jake Eater just because I think I'm contractually obligated to. The more that I think about it, if you've listened to PLive for a long time, Jake Eater was my guy, and hasn't really lived up to what we thought he'd be as a major leaguer. But I do think that 2025 we saw certainly better results, in my opinion, than what we saw with the White Sox last year. There's still an avenue towards Eater being something useful. He will probably never be what I once thought he could be. That 2021 second half was absolutely magical. I'll never forget it. But a credible 6th, 7th inning guy? Yeah. And for what? Nothing. Could be something interesting there. Okie dokie. There you go, guys. That's some of our superlatives. I think that it went well. Guys, let's do one more superlative. We're going to grade our own superlatives. I will give myself a B. Nate, your grade for your own superlatives.
A+, never waver.
Rhys, your grade for your own superlatives.
A+. I didn't expect to get so fired up about the Giants.
That was awesome.
I expected you to, and I'm glad. You know what? I'm going to bump myself up to a B+ because I did expect you to get so fired up about the Giants. So it's presence of mind.
Can I ask one question here? Because, sorry, with your Johan Duran point here, and we have a minute, Mick Abel is not as valuable as everyone else seems to think he is. And I would argue that Eduardo Tait is in the same bucket. Rhys, do you agree with that? I am lower on Mick Abel apparently than everyone else.
I like Mick Abel more
I
than
do
most,
too.
apparently.
I
I
do
think
too.
he's a perfectly fine 5-starter. Is he going to throw 100 pitches in 3 innings? Probably. But that's fine. Let's be real. The Twins have the Twins are going to be bad. They're trying to sell off pieces because they're trying to be cheap, or they're trying to be less, financial investment, so that when they sell this offseason for a bajillion dollars, that it's a more attractive option for someone. So yeah, I kind of like the deal.
I do too.
Is he for sure like a 5-starter?
I would say he could be a 4-starter.
For the Twins, Nate, they might be giving you a call for their 5-starter spot. So he might be their
Don't-
4th.
yeah,
I guess
don't
I'm
talk so
speaking
bad on the
in
Twins, Nate.
generalities. I mean, I think Zebby's better than him. I don't know if that's a hot take. I guess I don't know really where we're seeing Mick Abel be valued. I think there's still a lot of concerns, man. And he had some good innings in 2025 for the first time in a couple of years. The FIP was
some good
way
innings at the
higher than
highest
the ERA.
Yeah, good innings at the highest.
He had
Nate,
he had 2 good starts.
Okay, let's be.
How many good?
Let's
Okay,
talk
how
about
many?
the
How many
rotation?
How many prospects at the same level as Mick Abel have had 2 good starts at the major league level this year? Though I think that it's kind of silly to ignore the fact that he did good at the highest level. Though.
Fight.
Well, we're seeing we're seeing it come back around though. The FIP is a 6.2 in 25 innings. Like it's been blow up after blow up after that, and it's because the command hasn't been great. I don't know. I am cautious on Mick Abel. That is my dying wish, I suppose.
Let's
look at this rotation. Joe Ryan, Bailey Ober. Okay, we're gonna start talking about prospect. We're gonna start talking about pieces that Mick Abel can beat out.
Yeah, I was about to say, Rhys, we had the same
Jose
idea.
Urena, Zebby Matthews, and Simeon Woods Richardson. Simeon Woods Richardson has more 50 pitches than Brandon Pfaadt, and that's really saying something because Brandon Pfaadt is the most average pitcher to walk the face of the earth.
I am not saying that he will not get a chance on the Twins. I'm saying that in terms of MLB's caliber starting pitchers, he's not the first guy that goes to my mind. And if he's an SP5 for the rest of his career, I think it's going to be like, and Taj Bradley's a better pitcher than him.
Okay.
Yes,
let's continue
is an
that.
objectively better pitcher than him.
Okay, let's just keep that going then. Who would you rather have as in your rotation major league, Nate, if you were a Twins fan? Jose Urena or Mick Abel?
Mick Abel.
Okay.
Jose Urena will cause some fights, so maybe that's worth watching Twins games. If they face Ronald Acuna Jr., he's going to hit him real hard.
Simeon Woods Richardson or Mick Abel, Nate?
Mick Abel. But once again, this is not my point.
That's fine.
I don't care about the
fine.
Twins and their lack of depth.
But we have to consider the fact that he's going to have a better opportunity than he would have in Philly, right?
Yeah, I just don't think he's going to do as much of that opportunity as people think he's going to. I think that's what it boils down to.
David Festa or Mick Abel?
I like David Festa more.
Okay. Marco Raya or Mick Abel?
And Mick Abel.
Andrew Morris or Mick Abel?
Mick Abel.
Kendry Rojas, Mick Abel?
Mick Abel.
Corey Lewis, the knuckleballer. Come on, you got to have a soft spot for Corey Lewis.
It's Mick Abel, but
all I'm saying is just I think that if maybe this is me being a bit of a Phillies homer. I feel like Abel could be a little better than a 5th starter, but certainly not a 3. Maybe a bad 4.
If Joe Ryan, Bailey Ober, Zebby Matthews, David Festa, and Pablo Lopez are healthy, I take all 5 of those guys before I take Mick Abel.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay.
So he's the number 6 on the Twins when they're fully healthy? On the Twins?
What if Mick Abel is just a lights out reliever? What if he's just Johan Duran?
What if he's just John Duran? I love that because maybe not John Duran. I don't think he has an 80
No, that's
pitch.
not fair.
I don't think he has an 80 pitch, but
I don't think he has an 80
what
walkout
if
either.
Oh, okay. No, certainly not. What if what we thought DL Hall could be, kind of just a reliever who may not be a starter, whose stuff can be nasty, but it's just wild. What if he's what you wanted DL Hall to be? I mean, that's not without value.
The fastball doesn't grade out well. The breakers are okay. It's
nerd.
What does he do well? What does Mick Abel do well?
I like the breaking balls.
I like the vibes. He's got aura. No, I'm just joking. Actually, I don't even know if Mick Abel has aura. Let's be real.
No, he doesn't.
I've never watched a Mick Abel start and be like, man, you know what? I'm fired up for
aura.
that. Yeah. Oh, dude. Okay. You know what, Nate? You might be swaying me, but I don't like to admit that I'm wrong. So Mick Abel, good.
Sorry,
Nate,
I saw an opportunity here to have a really interesting discussion, and I wanted to fight it because I like learning if I'm right or wrong, and I guess we'll know in 4 years. But I want to know what you guys thought on him, just because I had strong opinions.
I think that you have a good basis to have your opinion too. I think your opinion is based in a lot of solid fact. I think that and this is going to be bizarre to say, so you guys criticize me. I think I'm just kind of projecting a little more growth for the what is Abel 24? Yep. 24-year-old.
He's been around.
I just
for
think
a while.
there's a little. Yeah, he's been around a minute since 2020. So,
These prep high school pitchers always perform in like their 7th year of pro ball. So that 2027 he'll break out and it'll be whatever.
I think by that point I'll have been off the train, so I think you'll have won the discussion at that point. But I'm okay with that.
We'll check in next year. Episode 82. I'm gonna write down. We'll check in on Mick Abel.
Check in on Mick Abel. All right, perfect.
We'll have an hour-long conversation about it.
Yeah, we'll have another hour-long conversation about Mick Abel. You guys remember to tune in for episode 82, but until then, we are going to have a quick throw to the drop teens. Then we are going to have, let's see, roughly, 58 more episodes, and then we'll talk about Mick Abel. So until then, you guys sit there, and we'll be right back.
Thank you to the Drop Teams for that fantastical music interlude. I do not know why I did that with my hands, but we are here to talk about what's going on at Prospects Live. We still have the top 600 fantasy prospect rankings. We have articles coming out. We have the daily sheets. We have the Dynasty Baseball pickup guys going. We have undrafted free agent analysis by Josh, who's real. We have who's up prospect autos with the largest gains. Shout out to one of our newer writers, Andrew Dahl. We have the Dynasty podcast going. We have this podcast going. We have Path the Show over on Valley Sports Live and Stadium. Will Thompson and I, by the time you're listening to this, will have released a complete trade deadline, what is it called, recap. And I can't tell you what Will has writ about the Boston Red Sox, but I will tell you I am trying to petition Prospects Live to get him a therapy session as what happened at the deadline. But that's neither here nor there. Let's do what's on your mind. Let's start with you, Nathaniel. What's on your mind? I don't know why I don't like calling you Nathaniel. You're a Nate.
Yeah, no, I'm a Nate, 100%. Smada considered buying the boost, guys. I just want to say that. I sent you the screenshot. Smada asked how much is the boost. Hinge update, going well. We might have a date in the works next week, guys. Now this is a you podcast fans are part of this experience, whether you want to be or not.
All 6 of our coworkers and Nate's mom.
Yeah. So what's on my mind is my mom's coming on this podcast in our next episode. So that's a what's on your mind you have to tune in for. She asked me what she needed to do. I said, come up with a what's on your mind topic. I have no idea what it's going to be. And apparently I'm not allowed to be here. So it's just going to be you guys and my mom. So very interested to see how that one turns out. Slightly scared for my life of what kind of dirt my mother has on me of all people. But my real what's on your mind is Tyler Childers. Nothing on the mom. Are you guys, what are our thoughts on my mom coming on the pod?
I'm excited for when your mom comes on. I have questions.
I have questions too.
I don't prepare for any of this stuff that we do. I'm just going to show up and ask some questions and see where it goes.
I have a thought really quickly. We should draft with Nate's mom, and I have a topic I think she could do really well with. But if you have a draft, I know that's your forte. I'd like for you to do that.
Nate's favorite beige foods.
Draft my favorite things about me. You guys' favorite things about Nate. Yeah, that's a great
Nate
topic.
Draft.
That's gonna be like I'm just gonna skip the draft. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
Well, Nate's favorite beige foods is kind of up there in my mind.
Gruel textures.
Gruel.
textures of gruel.
The favorite gruel that you've cooked for Nate. Not that I'm accusing your mom of being a bad cook. I'm just saying she's cooking to her children's palate. So yeah. Well,
my mom makes good food. I'll give her that one. My real what's on her mind is just Tyler Childers. Came out with a new album. I think Rhys was saying it earlier. What was your thought on Tyler Childers?
I think he is the best country music artist out there right now. I love what he does.
Yeah.
He's so good. He's very insightful. He's a very interesting guy. He does a lot of interesting stuff outside of music. So I'm a big Tyler Childers fan.
Yeah, he's definitely a character. Notably got sober and changed a lot. And the music changed a lot, but it wasn't a bad thing. I've seen some people not loving this new album because it's very different than kind of the typical old school Childers. I think there's a lot of hits in there. Drew's gonna listen to it maybe today with Mallory. I just wanted to give Tyler Childers his flowers in kind of a shorter "What's on Your Mind." One of my favorite artists, someone who I continue to go back to, the new and the old. I think that's just really good country music right there. So just wanted to shout out Tyler Childers. Hoping to see him live someday, but yeah, just good music, right? Good country music.
Yeah, I like him too. What I have heard of him, I really like, and I'm excited to listen to the new album. So thanks for the tip.
Yeah. What, Drew? What's on your mind?
Well, we were talking about Fangraphs, and they do amazing work. I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, chances are you already know that. But I had an embarrassing thing happen, and I want to tell the story. That way, hopefully, it will get back to this person, and they will know how apologetic I am. So anyway, leading up to the MLB draft, I told myself I wanted to have a photo taken of myself and Greg and our former coworker and still very good friend Tyler Jennings, of us all at the draft, because the three of us, along with Jared Perkins, were at the Futures game and had kind of draft experience the previous year in Dallas Fort Worth. So I just wanted to have that just as a good memory, a good reminder, a good memory to think about with our friendship. So as I'm sitting, looking, I'm like, all right, boys, let's get this picture out of the way so that we can, focus and work. And looking for somebody to take a photo. And I'm like, oh my God, who looks like they could take a credible, solid photo of us, who doesn't look busy? And I'm looking around, and I see like old dude, child, person that is working. And then I notice a woman just kind of sitting by herself. And I was like, okay, I'll ask this person. So I walked up and I said, ma'am, I'm so sorry to bother you. Is there any chance, you look like you could take a good photo. Is there any chance that you could take a photo of me and my friends really quickly? Super gracious. Yeah, sure, absolutely. And then took probably I think actually 12 photos on my phone whenever I returned to my phone. So she was exceptional. It was Meg Rowley, so editor of Fangraphs. When I realized that it was Meg, I introduced myself later in the evening. Oh, hi, so nice to meet you. I am really sorry I asked you to take a photo of me earlier. And I genuinely felt bad because I respect what Meg does. And not that like asking her to take a photo was me like, her being subservient or like looking down on her or anything like that, because that's not the case. I literally seek out people I think look like they can take good photos. I'm a very difficult person to photograph. I'm not a very handsome guy. So I try to find people that I think look at least like they can operate a camera well. And so it was a compliment, but I felt very bad. But again, she was gracious, as you would imagine. So if this does get back to Meg, I'm sorry again. I'm really, really sorry. Also, consider coming on deck.
Yeah. Well, Rhys, do we have a draft to finish us off in this episode?
We're drafting our favorite chores. Shout out to Meg Rowley. Shout out to everyone over at Fangraphs, and shout out to Prospects Live. We finally got done with all 30 teams. All 20 lists are done. They're posted. I did leave a note in the Padres list that this list was completed before they decided to trade everybody, including me. I was somewhat, for some reason, I was involved in the trade. Yeah, we're gonna draft our favorite chores to do, standard stake style, because that's the most American thing anybody can do. I don't really care about the draft order. It's up to you guys. I don't really have a clear 1-1. It's we're kind of dealing with that Henry Davis-esque draft where I don't think there's any clear standout for my favorite. There's a lot of chores that I like doing, but I'm willing to cut a deal at any point. So if you guys want to put me at last so I can get the wraparound, I'm cool with whatever.
I would like either 1 or 2, Nate. You can choose.
You can go 1, I'll go 2, Rhys will go 3. Okay.
All right, love it. All right, while Nate is typing this out, I'm going to go ahead and make my first selection. Probably a strange chore, but I have good logic here. The number 1 is dishes. And that's because I have always found that I can do dishes very efficiently. My brother Kyle and I, he's less than 2 years younger than me, so it was, growing up with a best friend, we could do a dishwasher full of dishes or hand wash dishes, I would bet faster than any other human beings on the planet. If you put us together in a kitchen we're familiar with, we could unload and load a dishwasher in less than 5 minutes. I am positive. Completely full dishwasher. Give me dishes, because that's just one that's sentimental to me, nostalgic to me, and I do it very well. Nate, to you.
It's a good pick. I'm going to go vacuuming.
Ooh.
I like operating that machinery. I think it's fun seeing things get clean.
Machinery.
Machinery.
I don't vacuum very often, but when I do, it's fun. Probably need to vacuum this place if we're being honest. I don't know. Kind of cool. I don't know if I have a favorite chore. I don't know if I'm in the chore loving section yet because I like Rhys said, I live in a closet, so there isn't a whole lot to do chores wise.
Live in a closet. That's brutal.
When Nate makes his bed, he's also cleaned the table. He's done the dishes at the same time. All right. I'm going to go simple. Cooking. I love to cook. Cooking is one of my favorite chores. I love it. Cooking is a chore. You have to cook.
Okay. All right. Well, and I thought of cooking as a chore.
Yeah.
That's 1-1. Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah. I love I have a
I'm not
Blackstone
posting
now.
this one.
There
will be no Twitter poll.
Cooking, I meal prep some chicken for Danielle and I. That is a chore. It is a labor of love because I love cooking on my Blackstone. All right, I love mopping.
Ugh.
And the reason I love mopping is because there's a lot of other things. I can listen to a podcast while I'm mopping. There's a little bit, you have to think about it a little bit. Where do I want to? I have to plan my exit strategy. It makes it a little bit more fun. I love to mop.
Playing my strategy.
I have to make sure you have to make sure your feet are clean because you don't want to like mop something, and then it's a whole holistic thing. I like mopping.
I've mopped like twice in my life.
Yeah, I can. Once you start to when you get into you move in with a partner or something like that, you'll mop.
Yeah, we're a ways away from that.
Nate,
Checking the mail. What?
Checking the mail?
That's not a
what
chore.
If you get some? That's not a chore. Okay.
Checking the mail?
Okay, I thought cooking opened this up to other. Okay.
Go with checking the mail. Go with checking the mail.
No, I'm going taking out the garbage.
Drew is your favorite chore?
Talking to Drew is your favorite chore.
I'm going taking out the garbage.
Okay.
Because apparently that's an actual chore.
You can
well, that is a chore.
No, Drew, you go. No, cooking's a chore. It's fine. It's fine.
I vehemently disagree that cooking can be work, but I don't think it's a chore. But okay, all right. I'm sorry if I was too mean to checking.
No,
the
I'm just an aggressive human sometimes.
That's okay. I'm gonna go with folding laundry, and now very specifically folding laundry. I didn't say washing. I didn't say collecting laundry. Folding. This is literally sit down, watch TV, and fold. You can do that for hours and not get bored. Matter of fact, I did that today. And number 3, I think this might be a GOAT choice. Give me an earphone in my ear with a baseball game playing, mowing the lawn. If you're going to have to do something that's exercise, it's good and sweaty work. Plus, it is, you can do something while you're doing it. Listen to the pod.
Yeah.
Listen to something.
I can't believe I didn't think of that. I used to mow for a living. I used to take care of a baseball field. Putting those stripes in the grass was the coolest thing.
That is cool. I did that at my dad's
to
lawn.
make money.
Really?
Like I had a business. I went door to door and I mowed lawns. It was my first ever job, and I was making so much money. I'm going to go a little bit of story time. I kind of, I feel bad about it now. So living on a military base, they contract out gardeners and stuff like that to cut people's lawns. The gardening company went on strike, and guess who took advantage? I did, and I was making so much money. I charged $10 to $15 a lawn. $10 for a small lawn, $15 for a large. I was getting $50 to cut people's lawns. I was, there was some where it was pretty scary. I was like, what? I was in 6th grade. Some people's weeds were as tall as me because the strike went on for a long time. I cut in. I kind of undermined what was a very a good strike at the end of the day. They just wanted fair working conditions. I feel kind of bad about it now, but yeah, mowing a lawn is one of the better chores. I don't have a lawn, so I totally forgot about that. I think I've showed you guys. I have dirt. Like I just have various dirt, and I have an olive tree that I don't really care about. And then I have some other plants that are they're cool. I have a rosemary bush. 10 out of 10 would recommend getting one of those because then you never have to pay for rosemary ever again.
That's actually a good note.
A riding lawnmower is one of the most manly experiences in life.
Yep.
For my last pick, I'm going to go with washing the car.
Good. There you go, Nate. There you go.
That's speaking of manly. You can put on some
there
music.
You go.
Not wear
Soap
a shirt.
Bucket.
No shirt. Music on. Yup.
Rhys, the last pick of the draft.
I got picked pretty bad on that. Is walking your dog count as a chore? Because you do have to walk. Your dog. Some dogs like to get out. It's a form of exercise. I like walking my parents' dog. They don't walk the dog enough. They have always some sort of excuse.
Drew, we should have taken podcasting with Rhys.
You know, it's
Oh.
funny because whenever you were moving the sheet there, Drew was like on. You moved Drew up, and I was like, just dealing with Drew is a chore. So I mean, facts. Rhys, I'll give you walking the dog because
I love exercise. I love walking the dog.
Yeah.
I can't really exercise. I'm just now being able to start exercising again.
I gotta say, Rhys, yours sounds like a good day other than mopping. Like I get to cook, I get to walk my dog. Oh, but I've got to mop. Like that sounds like a good day. That's not
Mopping's so
chores.
much fun. I love mopping. I might mop this evening. Danielle will be happy.
She would be thrilled. Nate, yours vacuuming, taking out the garbage, washing the car. That feels like chores to me. That feels like Mama Raths is like, hey, buddy, I need you to hit these things today. We got company coming in.
Paint the floors, you know.
Dadgum, like you literally have been told to paint the floors. That's hilarious. I forgot about that.
That's what I want to ask. That's one of the things I'm going to ask Mama Rasmussen. Why paint the floors? I don't understand. My mind cannot compute.
Yeah,
with
I don't
painting
get
the
that
floors.
I didn't even have time to paint the floors. I had
So
too
you-
many other chores going on.
You didn't paint the floor?
I didn't have time to paint the floors.
Did you tell your mom you didn't paint the floors? Because we can tell her on the podcast. See
Yeah,
what
just-
she says.
Yeah, let her know I
Just-
didn't get
just
to that
sn-
one.
just
She
snitch
knows,
on-
but yeah.
Just snitch on Nate.
It might be easier coming from us. I don't think she could be mad at us, and then maybe it'll transfer to you.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, fellas. Let's
Been a good episode, huh?
let's land this plane. I gotta go watch a 5-year-old. Or he's gotta watch me, depending on how you view it. Where can they find you on socials, Nate?
Yeah, didn't think too far ahead on this one. Let's go. I'm on the TikTok. Let me see what my name is on there.
I thought you were gonna say Hinge.
I think I said that last time. I'm running out of apps. I'm gonna start at Rasmussen Baseball on TikTok. I posted a couple baseball things on there. You can see me pitching on my TikTok, and you can see my MLB Draft Combine vlog. Yeah, check those out. Where can they find you, Drew?
Yes, find me on the Twitter machine at drewisokay, on Instagram at drewisokay. Find my work at Prospects Live. Just released an article this past week. Thought that was kind of interesting. You can also find me on Bluesky at SONNY sunny108.bsky.social. I'm really muscular and Canadian, if you didn't know.
It's a good follow.
Yeah.
Go follow. Except for not on that app. That app sucks. You can find me on Twitter at rhysbwhite, Bluesky Rhys White, Instagram you can find me at Rhys White, where I will just be reposting stuff that Valley Sports Live does. And anyways, you can follow me over there. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time with Mama Rasmussen at the end.